Welcome to the Microdose, where I introduce to you small pieces of power-packed information that you can use to change your life today. So let's get into it. Neural reprogramming. What does that even mean? Well, I'll tell you. Your brain is actually a supercomputer that has the potential to allow you to become a superhuman. The problem is, we're just not running the right programs. So if you think about a computer, it runs all sorts of programs to perform all kinds of functions. And if we have good programs, we get all kinds of amazing, great functions. So how do we relate this to humans? The Matrix is a great example. So think about the Matrix and everyone existing within the world of the Matrix. So typically, we're running programs unconsciously all day long. We don't even realize the programs that we're running, and those create our perceived reality, and then people interact with our perceived reality, they agree upon it, and they reinforce those programs within us. So in the Matrix, there's certain people who've actually woken up out of the Matrix, and they see the programs that are being run, and they decide to make a different choice. They decide to write their own programs or to install new software, new programs, and this allows them to effectively create a whole new reality so that when they go back into the shared reality of the Matrix, they operate by a whole new set of rules. And to everyone else who has not woken up out of the system, it would appear that these people are superhumans or have superpowers or unexplainable, extraordinary abilities. And the people in the Matrix, they're just like, no, I just downloaded a new program and I can do this stuff now because I chose to operate on a different system. So it works, I'm not lying, exactly like that. You just have to wake up, identify the programs you're running unconsciously all day, and decide which ones you want to delete, which ones you want to edit and rewrite, or maybe you can just find new programs and incorporate them into your operating system so that on a daily basis, you're altering your experience and changing your reality. So let's see, here's a great example of an easy way, and this is something that I think a lot of people can relate to. So typically in the past, I always told myself, I'm no good at remembering names, and that's a program. And my brain repeats this over and over again. Every time I meet someone new, I say, hey, if I don't remember your name on the first time, don't blame me, I am no good at remembering names. And so of course, then they expect me to not remember their name, and I even expect myself to not remember their name. So what happens? I typically didn't end up remembering anyone's names, which is awful. We want to connect, we want to remember people's names. And so I decided in 2020, I want to be better at remembering people's names. And so instead of saying, I'm no good at remembering names, you'll have to excuse me, whenever I would meet people, I would say, I'm great at remembering names. I'm going to remember your name. And I kid you not, just like that, I started remembering people's names. And here's why. Your brain only does what you tell it to do, and most of the time we're telling it to do bad things, like not remember people's names. And so when you say that over and over again, I'm no good at remembering people's names, people start expecting that of you. And then when you start delivering on that promise, your brain just says, oh, you don't want to remember names. They don't expect you to remember this name. You don't expect to remember this name. So we're not going to devote any of our memory to remembering people's names because you literally told us that's not what you want. And as soon as I started telling my brain a new story, as soon as I started saying, I want to remember people's names, I am going to remember people's names, right now I'm remembering this person's name, the most magical thing happened. I started remembering people's names. And that became the new program to the point where I didn't even have to voice it out loud. I just knew internally, I'm going to remember this person's name, even if I just met a whole group of new people. And what started happening next was even more funny. My reality changed so much that people that were close to me started saying, wow, you're good at remembering people's names. And without even telling them that this is the new program I'm writing, they were able to perceive the reality that I was creating for myself. And all of a sudden, I now have multiple people outside of my own perceived reality, validating, confirming, reaffirming the program that I was writing for myself to remember people's names. And so of course, what happens next? I just remember people's names even more, and it gets to the point when people are introducing each other in a new group, they say, oh, Teo, he's great at remembering names, he's gonna remember your name. And it's incredible how he remembers people's names when just a few months ago, I was the person in the room saying, excuse me, like, don't, I'm gonna not remember your name. I'm so sorry if I have to ask again. And all of a sudden, by switching this program, now I walk into the room with confidence and I know that I'm gonna remember people's names, and that feels good. And it's no longer a sense of shame when I'm meeting new people. I get really excited and I have tricks and different ways to remember their names. And so that's all it takes to write a new program, is figuring out what you want to rewrite and then just changing the script, literally changing the script. So instead of saying, I'm no good at remembering names, I never remember names, oh, you'll have to excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm not going to remember your name, change the script and tell your brain what to do. And say, I'm great at remembering names. I'm going to remember your name. People know me because I'm so good at remembering names. And then your brain is going to say, oh, you want to remember names? Well, let's create space in our memory for that. Let's create some extra power so that when you get a new name, we can lock that in. So my challenge to you is to pick a program that you're running in your life right now. And if you're not aware of one, really sit down and analyze all of your actions, analyze your thought patterns, analyze your emotional patterns, and really get down to the nitty-gritty and figure out how you're operating on a daily basis in your perceived reality, because ultimately you are the one creating your perceived reality and you can change it at any time. So sit down, figure out a program you want to change, and then use an affirmation or a mantra, or just write a new script about that action, about that emotion, about that process that you go through, and see if you can't change it. And all of this relies on belief, and if you don't believe that you can actually change it, then you're writing a sub-program within the program, and you're saying, I'm going to remember names, I'm good at remembering names, the whole time with this program, like a virus inside of it saying, no, you're not, no, you can't, I don't believe in you, this will never work, you're crazy, just why are you even wasting time on this? So you have to get rid of those viruses, you have to get rid of all the malware, all the Trojan horses, all of the things that are going to try and tear down your new program. And then you have to run that program every day, multiple times a day, because if you don't, it's not going to get integrated into your operating system. So that is the microdose for today. Find a program that you want to change, delete, rewrite, and then insert a new program and change your operating system, and see how quickly you can change your reality and change your life.